Hey guys, Marshall Kirby from Orchard Hill Farm Equipment. Behind us today we have two machines, identical machines, set up with a SB74C front mount snowblower. These are the Kioti NS series cab tractors, and these are both set up for the same customer. He's going to be doing some snow removal up towards Mount Snow Vermont, and we're going to go over today why he chose these machines, what type of features he went for on these machines, and what benefits they're going to have for him. So let's dive in. Let's focus in on the front mount snowblowers, talk about them a little bit, see why it might be a good choice for you guys. So the NS4710 and all of the NS series can come with this specific front mount snowblower, which is everything that you see up front, as well as the whole gray frame that goes underneath. And this customer opted for not getting either of these machines outfitted with a front loader. So generally on a front mount snowblower, we do not want to sell them to our customers that are going to go, from a loader to a snowblower back and forth multiple times in the winter, because it is a little bit of a process to hook this front snowblower up, and oftentimes people don't have, warm heated garages to do it in. They're doing it outside. So the removal process and installation process of this snowblower is something that I would expect to take anywhere from about 10 minutes to 30 minutes, depending on the situation, whether it be in a, enclosed area that's heated and everything is nice and dry, or you're outside in the cold elements. It may take a little bit longer with some ice chunks on things and whatnot. But the snowblower for this series only comes in a 74-inch. Kioti does offer front mount snowblowers on their DK series, CK series, CX series, and CS series, all of which are smaller than this snowblower, but they are an option. These snowblowers are a rear gearbox driven unit that hooks to a front PTO that's added to the tractor. This gearbox is a cast steel gearbox that's located right here. So good news for you is there's no gearbox out in front on the auger. A lot of the other brands like Kubota and some of the other brands out there are going to run a gearbox that is directly in the center of this auger, which could be prone to damage. You're going to run a chain link setup right here, which is greasable. There's a bearing on each side to grease the bearings for this actual auger. And there's two shear bolts on this snowblower, one of which is located on the impeller right here. This is a 4-blade impeller, and we run to the back here, and there is a shear pin here. Most of the time you're going to break this shear pin. This shear pin is the small little guy that's going to break from time to time, and then this little flap covers back over, and you put your little clip on there. There's a tension adjustment set up here for the chain, which is nice. And this whole front mount snowblower can be released. If you wanted to just release the head of the blower and remove this in a 2-step process, you can do so, or you can remove the whole thing in 1 step. So removing the head of the snowblower is a little bit of a few different pieces of the process. So number one is we're going to need to quick disconnect the collar here on the PTO that's going to the gearbox. And number two is we're going to need to pull the pin right here out. This cotter pin needs to come out, and then these guys are going to slide off, which we can't do right now because there's a little bit of pressure on them because this is sitting on the ground. But before it's sitting on the ground with too much pressure, you'd remove that. And then start up the tractor. Once you do that on both sides, right, PTO, and then this pin and the pin on the other side, you can start up the tractor, and you can actually lower this gray frame right out of where it's hooking in here and drop it down to the ground, and the snowblower will stay there. And then from there, the only last piece you're going to have is disconnecting the two hydraulic lines for our chute rotation motor, which are these two quick disconnects, and these lines right here will just stay with the blower head. At that point, your whole front snowblower is off. Now you just have the frame. The frame itself is going to be also removable. Now there is a pin back here, which my hand is touching right now. And there's also a pin up in front of the front axle, which is also located right there. That's gonna help remove this whole frame. And in order to get those pins loose, you're gonna then drop the whole frame to the ground so the pressure is released and you can yank the pins out. Once you do that, you have 4 quick disconnects and a PTO shaft underneath. So the front head is 2 hydraulic lines, a PTO coupling, and 2 pins. The frame is 4 hydraulic couplings, 2 pins, and a PTO. Pretty simple, if that's the easiest way to break it down for you. So not terrible to remove, but if we are changing from front snowblower to loader, say 10 times in the winter, it can be a little bit of a process because you got to do that and you got to remove and reinstall the loader each time, which is another couple hydraulic lines and another couple pins. On the snowblowers that are larger, the 66 inchers and up, I believe it is, you do get a standard skid shoe, while the 54 and 50s inch snowblowers, you can add the skid shoe for a few $100 extra. Yep. These chutes come standard manual adjusted with a pull pin here so you can adjust the deflector. It's a greasable hinge joint pin, and this can be changed out for a hydraulic piston in the future if you wanted to, or right up front. But they do come standard with a hydraulic motor rotation. So the operation of this snowblower, we're going to show after real quick inside the cab and show you what that's all about. So we're inside the cab now, and your functionality is basically set up like this. So your loader lift is going to lift the blower up. Your loader, drop down is going to lift it down. And there is down pressure with these snow blowers, as you can tell, which is quite impressive. So it's going to scrape really, really well. And then shooting the snow left and right is your dump function on your loader. So, and you can snow blow pretty much. There's a stopper so you can not hit the cab basically, but it's definitely close. So you want to be careful if you're touching rock in that snow. But pretty much, I'd say, maybe 270, 280 degrees as far as snowblower rotation goes. So that's pretty sweet. So that was the snowblower function. On this cab tractor, the customer opted for the R14 tires, which are probably the best fit tires for snow removal that you can get as a standard feature. These work really, really good in the snow, but there are 3 other tire choices for the customer. Customer opted for a 45 horsepower engine, which is going to fit these snowblowers quite well, but they do have the option to go up to a 60 if they wanted. And obviously he's going to have a 3-point hitch on the back, so he can run a sander or a salt spreader on the back, or a back drag box or a scraper edge or something like that back there. But this is a really nice setup this customer's opted for. They got a lot of condos that they're doing up towards Mount Snow Vermont, and he kind of did a ton of research and had it narrowed down to this or the Grandel Kubota cabs with front blowers, and pretty much came down to these were a little bit more efficient on the price, and availability was a little bit faster, and there was a few other features as far as power and lifting specs and hydraulic power that was a little bit higher than the Grandel. So he opted for the Kiotis. We hope he enjoys these 2 machines, and we want to thank him for his purchase. And if you guys got any other questions on front snowblowers or any other Kioti products, visit us on our website or shoot us an email at info@orchardhillsales.com. Thank you.